where jobs have gone, and that it's no longer I'm a great employee, I come in every day, I really work hard all the time, I'm going to keep my job. It's now I come in every day, I work as hard as I can possibly do, I love working here, and I just found out they're going to pick up my job and move it to the Philippines. Going to take my job and move it to India. We in the telecommunications went through probably the biggest breakup in the history of corporate America, the world. In 1984, we broke up the Bell system. We were all part of AT&T, and AT&T wanted to expand out. They wanted to go beyond the telephone. They wanted to get into this thing called computers. And the very first thing they did was set up manufacturing shops in Mexico. Their idea of making more money was to set up manufacturing shops in Mexico, which quickly evolved into moving it out of Mexico because that was too expensive for those workers. In the meantime, crushing and taking away good manufacturing, good paying American jobs out of this country. But their idea of growing was to take all kinds of work out of this country, put it into places like Mexico, and then eventually into the Philippines and India, because they get it done even cheaper there. And that was 1984. AT&T set the standard for that. And once a big corporation like that began that, everything else fell in line. In 1989, we were on strike against NYNEX. We were also on strike with Eastern Airlines at that time. The airline industry, the historic Frank Lorenzo was going to eliminate the union at Eastern Airlines, not work with the union, eliminate the union, because they could no longer be competitive by having a union. Well, look what's happened to the airline industry. And they were successful in getting the airline industry deregulated. And look at the mess we're in right now. Again, without a union in the middle of the airline industry, without a union in the middle of the telecommunications company, who has suffered? The customer. When they broke up AT&T, the normal service for telephone was $18 a month. Now somebody throws a chest out if they're paying $100 a month for a cell phone. I mean, we used to have marches on the Massachusetts DPU because they wanted to go up 10 cents a month on somebody's phone bill, and eventually they'd acquiesce and get their 4 cents is what they're really looking for. Now they deregulate back in the early 90s, and they come out with cell phones, and it's just $100 now for a phone that used to cost $28 a month, with all kinds of profits to telecommunications company, with nothing going back into the domestic United States. And again, with the wireless business and telecommunications and the lack of unions, workers don't have somebody in the forefront to deal with those issues. And it, again, goes all the way back to the mirror of the evolution or the beginning of unions back in the early 1900s, when you had people willing to say, I've had enough, I don't care about the risk, because if we don't do something about it, it's going to get worse. We, and me as a 60-year-old person, have taken too much for granted that it's always going to be here. But we've seen, especially in the last 10 years, how it's not going to be here. How somebody, after paying $200,000 for a college education, is working at McDonald's for $15, $16 an hour.
Not yet. But I want to thank you for the first part.
Yes.
And we're going to come back in just a few minutes, and we're going to go on to part two.
Right.
This has been fantastic. It really has been.
Good.
This is great. They want $15-16 an hour.
I know it. I got 4 kids, and I know the story.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to, if I'm rambling.
No, you're doing fantastic. This is fantastic.